The electronics that have come from China is disappointing us this morning. So the teacher is going to use her teacher's voice to make sure that she brings the children out with what they prepared for today. And we're so confident that our children are going to do it. They should not be afraid. They should not feel that the microphone has disappointed them. But what we need is the information they have inside them.
A brief Ambazonian history.
A brief Ambazonian history from 1995 to 2024. Dr. Cho Ayaba began this fight on the 14th of May, 1995 to 2024, when the Southern Cameroon unit was created. By then, he was the Secretary General of the Southern Cameroon unit. SOCATE, meaning Southern Cameroon Defense Force, was launched on the 30th November 1996. When today we are 13th General of the 13th state of the Southern Cameroon. Where today we are honored to be with card number 1. Today Dr. Chok is our leader.
There is back number 1.
The Southern Cameroon unit was created. ADF, we pray that you should lead us our freedom, where we are going to benefit from good education.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you for the history of Amazonia.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
very much. That is great. The electronics that have come from China is disappointing us this morning. So the teacher is going to use her teacher's voice to make sure that she brings the children out with what they prepared for today. And we're so confident that our children are going to do it. They should not be afraid. They should not feel that the microphone has disappointed them. But what we need is the information they have inside them.
A brief Ambazonian history.
A brief Ambazonian history from 1995 to 2024. Dr. Cho Ayaba began this fight on the 14th of May, 1995 to 2024, when the Southern Cameroon unit was created. By then, he was the Secretary General of the Southern Cameroon unit. SOCATE, meaning Southern Cameroon Defense Force, was launched on the 30th November 1996. When today we are 13th General of the 13th state of the Southern Cameroon. Where today we are honored to be with card number 1. Today Dr. Chok is our leader.
There is back number 1.
The Southern Cameroon unit was created. ADF, we pray that you should lead us our freedom, where we are going to benefit from good education.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you for the history of Amazonia.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
very much.
Hail this land of glory, with the Ambazonians, pledge your loyalty. Praise the Son of Savior, who granted us of freedom, allegiance to the heroes who bought the land with their blood. Glory to glory, we rise and never to fall. Here is our nation, flowing with milk and honey. Glory, glory, glory to the Father for making you a nation and joy forevermore. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our needs. And your children shall be like the stars above, because my God been the watchman of this nation. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our needs. And your children shall be like the stars above, the Most High God being the watchman of this nation.
Good evening, fellow Ambazonians. Good evening to our beautiful people. I feel extremely very honored for what this generation has proven. We feel extremely proud for what our people on ground zero have demonstrated to Cameroon and to the international community as to who is in charge. I want to thank the Ambazonian people, our children. I want to thank all the generals, the commanders, and all the forces across the 13 states for a brilliant, extraordinary, colorful, beautiful showcase of our independence. May God bless you all. Thank you for making Ambazonia a proud nation. Cameroon, from the beginning of this struggle in 2016, Cameroon has one primary intention: to make sure the Ambazonian people have no leader to trust, have no leader to follow, have no leader to believe on. Cameroon has one mission. The primary mission of Cameroon, the primary motive of the genocidal dictator of Cameroon, the primary motive of Diongute, the primary motive of the bees, the primary motive of the Cameroon military, the primary motive of the collective system of the CPDM fascist occupation party is to make sure Ambazonia and the Ambazonian people don't have a leader they can trust, a leader they can follow. That is Cameroon primary's motive. Why? A people without a leader will perish, according to the big book. A people that don't have a leader with a compelling vision for their future, with a compelling purpose for their lives, with a plan for freedom, with a plan for dignity, with a plan for accountable government, for systems of progress, for economic prosperity, for human rights, for development, educational development, the development of the court systems, the development of our economy, the development of international trades, and building international partners. Those people will have no space in a competitive world. Cameroon wants you, the Ambazonian people, wants your children to remain poor, to live in the dark ages, to not believe in themselves, to not have the capacity to dream, to not have the capacity of hope, and to be beggars even when they live in a land of abundance. Cameroon wants you to be homeless. Cameroon wants you to be a refugee. Cameroon wants you to be displaced. Cameroon wants you to become a Cameroonese. Cameroon wants to kill you. Cameroon wants to rape your mothers, turn your fathers into little boys. Cameroon wants you to be a human being without life, a human being without a sense of identity, without a sense of purpose, because that's what Cameroon is. From 2016, when this generation rose up, the Ambazonian people rallied around the call of the consortium. The Ambazonian people rallied around Tassan, Wilfred, and Agbobala. What happens to Tassan? What happened to Bala? What happened to the people Cameroon said he wanted a dialogue with, to negotiate with? What happened to the leadership of the council? What happened to Justice Ayapa? They all ended up in jail, didn't they? When Sise Kwayo Tabe rose up and gained popularity and trust, through the governing council and through the creation of the IG, the Ambazonian people rallied around Ayok Tabe and answered the call of September 22nd, 2017. Millions of our people took to the streets with peace plans. What happened to them? Cameroon killed 481 Ambazonians in one evening. Cameroon murdered 481 Ambazonians in one evening. When Ayok Tabe redeclared the restoration of Ambazonian independence in 1st of October 2017, our people answered that call, rallied around that leadership. What happened to Ayok Tabe 2 months later? Ayok Tabe, the president of the IG then, and 10 of his cabinet members, professors, lawyers, doctors, Ambazonian professionals, Ambazonian leaders of the IG were all kidnapped in Nigeria. Cameroon sent a military plane to Nigeria and transported them from Nigeria back to Cameroon. They kept them in bunkers for months, tortured them. They are still in Cameroon's concentration camp after 5 years, after 6 years, after 7 years. What did Cameroon do immediately after that? Cameroon introduced someone to fill in the space they have created. Samuel Sako. Cameroon introduced its own leader into the Ambazonian liberation struggle. And created infighting, division, the killings of soldiers, the disruption on the ground. They went after the prisoners. They went after the refugees. They went after those that are displaced. They went after those whose houses have been burnt. We managed to hold things together. We rebuilt the ground. We reunited the forces. We reunited the diaspora. We remobilized our population, and we channeled their energy against Cameroon. Tremendous sacrifices, a lot of work, because we understand the psychology of the enemy, the tactics of the enemy, because we have studied their DNA. We know how they operate. We know their thinking system. We understand their genetic makeup, and therefore their unconscious behaviors. They are both conscious and unconscious behaviors and actions. We re-strategized. We work extremely hard to rebuild the forces on the ground, to rearm the forces on the ground, to re-equip the forces on the ground. We created a military and realigned both the forces and the population. Dr. Cho Ayaba, the Ambazonian Governing Council, over the last few years, became the voice of the Ambazonian people, the focal point of Ambazonian nationalism. The focal point of Ambazonian nationalism. We provided the best education on an ongoing basis. We inspired, educated, elevated, empowered our people. We built resilience and a spirit of determination. We launched projects and programs that alter the liberation struggle and our leadership. We empowered the generals and the commanders to take charge because we understand the game of the enemy. We built 10 layers of leadership, both on the ground and out here. We created a 10-year liberation plan. We know what is at stake. We know what Cameroon is after. We know what their motives are, what their intentions are. The Cameroon colonial government is not interested in negotiation. It's interested to make sure the Ambazonian liberation struggle is leadershipless, has no leadership, has no one that can confront Cameroon, has no one that can challenge Cameroon, has no one without credibility, trust, and integrity. Because its goal is to make you to become an unbeliever. Someone who has no sense of direction. You don't know who to trust. You don't know who to believe in. You don't know who to count on. So that you become a purposeless human being. So that you live and spend your day in political arguments without a sense of direction, without progress, so that Cameroon can continue the genocide, the massacres, the killings, the extrajudicial killings, the mass arrests, mass incarceration, creating more refugees, burning more homes, more communities, more villages, to render our people humanless, to strip away life from them. When they took Ayoktabe and inserted Samuel Sako, what happened to the liberation struggle? Divisive, chaotic, antagonistic. They introduced corruption. They introduced embezzlement, falsehood, character assassination, blackmail. They turned the Ambazonian people to be fighting each other, to be quarreling with each other. Over the last few years, we have altered the atmosphere and created a leadership that is world class. A leadership with integrity. A leadership based on sound principles and conviction. A sense of common and shared destiny. That is a collective struggle. We're not out to fight ourselves, to divide our people. The AGOVC is out to unite the Ambazonian people, to unite our refugees, to unite our prisoners, to care for our people, to create space and a sense of community, to build trust within the international system, to win the trust and the respect of the international system. We create a transparent leadership, an accountable leadership. Resources that are mobilized are directed for humanitarian purposes, for the building of community schools, community clinics, community empowerment programs, educational training programs for our young girls and our young boys, for strengthening our forces. My fellow Ambazonians, Cameroon took away Agbobala, Justice Ayaba, didn't they? Didn't they? Cameroon took away Siseko Ayoktabe Julius, Tassan Wilfred, Pam Fongalanfo. They are still in jail. Mancho BBC is still in jail. Penn Terrence is still in jail. C. Conrad is still in jail. Thousands of Ambazonians are still in Cameroon concentration camps. They went after your generals. They targeted all top generals on the ground to make the ground not to have a leadership the people can count on and can trust. They went after Ivo. They went after No Pity. They went after Efan. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. We have created a liberation struggle that Cameroon cannot disrupt. We build an institution that will deliver independence to the Ambazonian people. The forces on the ground will liberate Amazonia. The Ambazonian Governing Council will continue to provide the required leadership for the liberation of Ambazonia. Dr. Cho Ayaba, the purest Ambazonian nationalist, the son walking on the footsteps of Goji Dinka, promised the Ambazonian people independence. Independence means independence. 3 weeks ago, or let me say 4 weeks ago, we declared a lockdown to demonstrate who is in charge of the territory, to demonstrate who has control and authority of the territory. Cameroon deployed more than 5,000 extra occupation forces. What happened to the 5,000 extra occupation forces? They were nowhere to be found. Lele Lafrique was nowhere to be found. Okala Bilai was nowhere to be found. The SDOs were nowhere to be found. The DOs were nowhere to be found. The mayors were nowhere to be found. The colonial parliamentarians were nowhere to be found. The colonial senators were nowhere to be found. The colonial government delegates were nowhere to be found. For 2 weeks, Dr. Cho Ayaba rallied the Ambazonian people and the Ambazonian forces, and they executed the most successful lockdown that proved to Cameroon that their time in Ambazonia has come to an end. And that proved to the international community that Ambazonia is now in charge, fully in charge. Cameroon got mad. Biya got mad. Diongouti got upset. They couldn't deal with the humiliation. They couldn't deal with the defeat. They couldn't deal with the embarrassment, because they've paraded themselves around the world, lying to themselves, lying to the people of Cameroon, that Cameroon is still in charge in Ambazonia. Across the 13 states of Ambazonia, the lockdown called by the Ambazonian Governing Council, called by Dr. Cho Ayaba, the Commander-in-Chief of Ambazonian forces, in consultation with the forces across the territory, they implemented a successful lockdown. We were even surprised to see forces in India show up. We thought they had been all killed. They show up and force the lockdown in the state where the colonial prime minister came from. Where was Diongouti? To stop the lockdown in India, he was nowhere to be found, because the Ambazonian people are fed up with Cameroon, because the Ambazonian people are tired of Cameroon, because the Ambazonian people want Cameroon to be gone, to leave. Ambazonians want Cameroon to disappear out of their territory. They supported the lockdown. Cameroon felt threatened by this central leadership that has been accepted by all the forces on the ground and by the Ambazonian people. It proved to Cameroon that its disruptive strategies using bribery to bribe pseudo leaders, using money to bribe and corrupt pseudo leaders, bribe and corrupt activists, has failed. And the Ambazonian Governing Council is the voice of the Ambazonian people. It's the voice of the forces. It's the voice that represents the aspirations, the hopes, the dreams, the dignity, the humanity, and the future of Ambazonia. Dr. Cho Ayaba has been the primary threat to Cameroon's occupation of Ambazonia. That's why the 7 attempts to assassinate him have not worked. That's why they failed. After the successful lockdown, when Cameroon realized through the Ambazonian Governing Council, the Ambazonian people now have hope for a homeland, have hope for freedom, and that Cameroon will have no choice. Negotiate their exit based on our terms, or we'll send them packing on the ground. Cameroon came to the conclusion the only thing to do, if we cannot kill all his generals on the ground, we cannot corrupt his incorruptible forces, we cannot infiltrate and destroy from within, then we should engineer some schemes. Cameroon created fake NGOs to use the tactics of bully and intimidation to frighten Ambazonians. That the person they believe in, the person they rely upon, should not be counted on. Cameroon's aim, primary target, is to go after the leader. Why? Because he's the only one left to deliver a free homeland. That's why they engineer schemes using criminals, people without credibility, fake and fraudulent lawyers who are after corrupt money, to launch frivolous, flimsy complaints, which the international systems and the nations in which we all out here are living in are forced to respond to these complaints. Frivolous, flimsy lawsuits to frighten and threaten the Amazonian people. That's why they came after Dr. Cho Ayaba. The entire state of Cameroon is after one person, Dr. Cho Ayaba. The entire state of Cameroon is after one organization, the Ambazonian Governing Council, the Ambazonian Defense Forces. They are all tactics to make sure that Ambazonians don't have a leadership they can count on. To decapitate. That's the motive. To frustrate you. Because they don't want dialogue. Because they don't want negotiation. Because they know the truth. They understand, just like what we did to them during the Canada pre-talks. Cameroon has no case to make about their presence in Ambazonia. They couldn't do it during Canada pre-talks. They couldn't. Cameroon couldn't explain to the Canadians in front of the United Nations in front of representatives from Norway, from Ireland, from Switzerland, from the United States, from the United Nations. Cameroon couldn't justify why they claim that Ambazonia is their territory. Cameroon couldn't. That's why they are using violence. That's why they are using scorched earth policy. They know their presence in Ambazonia is illegal. And this generation will push them out. Those who have burned more than 2,000 villages and killed more than 20,000 Ambazonians, sent 750,000 Ambazonians to become displaced people, sent 450,000 Ambazonians to become refugees. Those who have raped, maimed, sent thousands to jail, are now claiming to be innocent. And those who are opposing their presence in Ambazonia, those who are challenging their presence in Ambazonia, those who want them gone, have now become the perpetrators, have now become those who are committing crimes against humanity. This is the beginning of the end of this manipulation and corruption. We are the Ambazonian Governing Council. We are ready for Cameroon. We are ready for Cameroon in any court. We are ready for Cameroon. We are ready for Cameroon. The Ambazonian Governing Council is ready for Cameroon. All the officials of the Ambazonian Governing Council are ready for Cameroon. Tapang has proved to them you cannot defeat a just cause. Cameroon doesn't have a case. The person who will end up in jail is Mr. Bia, Diongute, Atanganji, Regina Mundi, Lele Lafrique, Okala Bilai, and all Cameroon top generals. Those are the people that will end up in jail. Propaganda will not work. Intimidation will not work. Ambazonia still has a strong, stable, consistent leadership that will deliver independence. Dr. Cho Ayaba has prepared himself, the organization, and the forces for this. The Vice President of Ambazonian Governing Council is now filling in as the temporal leader. The Vice President of the Ambazonian Governing Council, the Deputy Commander-in-Chief of Ambazonian Forces, is in charge. The Ambazonian Governing Council is in charge. The Ambazonian Defense Forces are in charge. The generals, the commanders, and the forces are in charge. All Ambazonian forces, all generals on the ground are in charge. Nothing will disrupt and nothing will destroy the Ambazonian liberation struggle. We will beat Cameroon in any court out here. We will. Nsala Emmanuel, the criminal, the fake lawyer who Tapang Ivo defeated in the United States, the son of a minister of the Cameroon government that the Cameroon government is using for this intimidation. The Ambazonian Governing Council has assembled a team of the best lawyers, as the Vice President has stated. We are ready to take this matter to the highest level of the international system, to end Cameroon's existence legally in Ambazonia. So I call on all the forces to remain focused on the mission, on the objective. We call on the Ambazonian people to remain committed and resilient. This is your moment. We are closer to securing that destiny for you. Cameroon has no choice. Intimidation will not work. Bribery and corruption will not work. We will end their presence in Ambazonia. All right? Fellow Ambazonians, Cameroon, a primary goal for this liberation struggle since this generation rise up for 2016, and for make sure say while people not get a leader, institutions, organization where they feel trust they will give them independence. It don't always be in a Cameroon a mission for always any person will come up with the Ambazonian people. They start for belief for that person. They start for trust that person. Cameroon don't make that person their primary target for either eliminate you, send you in jail, or they send you into exile. And everyone you there for exile, they still chase you. Till today, the papa for our country, the father of our nation, Pagoji, is still there for exile. For 2016, when this generation rise up through the consortium, Justice Ayaba, Tassan Wilfred, Agbobala, when the population rally around the consortium and the call of the consortium, now what Cameroon do? Catch the Supreme Court Justice, Justice Ayaba, catch Agbobala, chase Tassan Wilfred until he succeeds for escape. Take Bala and Justice Ayaba, send them for prison. Would they hope say, if they catch the leaders, then the population will give up for make the liberation leadership-less. The population not give up. Through Skakuf, Ambazonia rally themselves. They create a governing council where they transform up into the IG. Ayok Tabe emerged as the leader of the IG. It make a call for our people then for September 22, 2017. All Ambazonians across the territory, they stand up and answer that call for liberation. Ayok Tabe redeclared the restoration of independence for 2017, 1st of October 2017. 2 months later, Cameroon, it go for Nigeria for kidnap Ayok Tabe and 10 other cabinet members of the IG for render the Ambazonian liberation leadership-less. A struggle without a leader. As they talk for the big book, the people who did not get a leader, they go perish. It not end for it. Cameroon, it can't put its own leader. They take some person when no man or no place will come out. They just can't, Cameroon can't make it, say now I don't become the president of the IG. Sako. Cameroon used Sako for introduce corruption for the liberation struggle, for introduce embezzlement, for introduce the killings of fighters, the assassination of fighters, for introduce infighting for fighters, for introduce corruption of forces, for introduce the ambushing of fighters, for make all fighters on the ground for fight and for kill themselves. Now Cameroon introduce them for Sako for implement them. For make the diaspora, make the scatter, make what people they feel frustrated, make what people they not believe in the struggle, for give the struggle a very bad image. Cameroon, it take Ambazonian leaders, take Tassan, take Justice Ayaba, take Bala, lock them up. Take Ayok Tabe, take Tassan Wilfred, take Pam Fongalamfo, take Mancho BBC, take Tempen Terence, take C. Conrad, lock them up. Even cross, go for another country, carry their military plane, it go carry them cross international boundaries. The world never hold Cameroon accountable for these violations of international laws. Why? Because Cameroon want to render the Ambazonian liberation struggle leadershipless. For make you, the Ambazonian people, you know, go fit trust, you know, go fit believe. Sako can give the liberation struggle a very bad image, a very dirty image, for make the international community, make they see we as a people where they not be serious, and the people where they only fight now for their belly. As a people, they only be interested for fight among themselves, so that the international community, this just cause, this pure, simple case, you know, go fit support them. They bring in Sakoyi and Chris Anu for give the Ambazonian liberation struggle a very dirty name, a very bad image, a very bad reputation. The Ambazonian Governing Council is step in for salvage the situation.
The electronics that have come from China is disappointing us this morning. So the teacher is going to use her teacher's voice to make sure that she brings the children out with what they prepared for today. And we're so confident that our children are going to do it. They should not be afraid. They should not feel that the microphone has disappointed them. But what we need is the information they have inside them.
A brief Ambazonian history.
A brief Ambazonian history. From 1995 to 2024, Dr. Cho Ayaba began this fight on the 14th of May, 1995 to 2024, when the Southern Cameroon Unit was created. By then, he was the Secretary General of the Southern Cameroon Unit. SOCATEC, meaning Southern Cameroon Defense Force, was launched on the 30th November 1996, where today we are 13th General of the 13th state of the Southern Cameroon, where today we are honored to be with camp number 1. Today, Dr. Cho is our leader.
There is Baka number 1.
The Southern Cameroon Unit was created. ADF, we pray that you should lead us our freedom, where we are going to benefit from good education.
Thank you.
So wonderful.
Thank you for the history of Amazonia.
The electronics that have come from China is disappointing us this morning. So the teacher is going to use her teacher's voice to make sure that she brings the children out with what they prepared for today. And we're so confident that our children are going to do it. They should not be afraid. They should not feel that the microphone has disappointed them. But what we need is the information they have inside them.
A brief Ambazonian history.
A brief Ambazonian history. From 1995 to 2024, Dr. Cho Ayaba began this fight on the
'Cause your children shall be like the stars. Welcome to ACN.